I know you two know each other, but the audience at home may not. Colin is one of our SCCT alums now, technically.
Don't say that. It makes me feel old.
He's done tons of SCCT productions along with other productions in the Bay Area, and is taking a gap year now, which I'm excited to hear about. I took a gap year as well, and I also studied poli-sci. So we're really excited to have you back, Colin. It's so nice to see you. And he's going to be interviewing today Daina Block, who, in addition to being an amazing arts educator, choreographer, performing artist, and practitioner of Alexander technique and the nutritious movement approach. She was also our SCCT resident choreographer for many years before she moved to Florida, and is now pursuing her MFA in choreography at Jacksonville University. So we're really excited to have you on, Daina. With that, I'm going to hand it over to you, Colin.
Alrighty. So, yeah, you left Children's Theater, I guess, 2 years ago, 2018. What have you been up to since then?
Well, traveling across the country was a big deal. We had everyone packed into the car, went across the country, and yeah, we arrived in Florida, and I made the decision to continue my studies, my learning, my education. So being in Florida and Jacksonville, just up the road, I applied and got in, and it's been actually such a wonderful ride through navigating, do I want to do this? Yes, I want to do this. I'm here. What is it that this is all about? Going into the program, I had expectations, and they're not what's happening right now, which is, I don't know why anything would be different than as if we were working together. Colin, you and I working together. Yeah, I got this. Yeah, well, then we're going to change that. And then we're going to change that. We're going to change. Yeah, and this is work later. So I don't know why I went in there with expectations, because everything's just gone completely sideways in a good way. So just like this whole COVID business, you get thrown a curveball, you adjust, you change, just like the theatre has done already now, going online and doing a real bang up job about it. So kudos to the theatre.
So when did you start your master's before we went into quarantine, or?
Yeah, I did. I think it was 2019. 2019 was my first year, because we're in 2020 now. Yeah, so 2019, that's when I started.
So how has that transition been? Because I know all of us youngins at home have had to transition. How has the transition been for you for a distance learning, especially with such a collaborative thing like dance?
Right, so the program is set up, what do we call, remote or low residency is what they call it. So the only time that we actually meet our cohort or the lecturers live is during the summer. So last year in 2019, I met everyone, even the second years. And it was, that was fantastic, being there and feeling, I'm going to call it the juju, or the other people's energy. That was, I now realize how important that is in arts, and particularly in dance. And when it comes to me and my interest in contact improvisation, where's that gone? So my current thesis that I'm working on will involve those questions. But rewind. So the experience, it hasn't been a dramatic shift during COVID, because it is such a low residency. During the fall and the spring, we're totally online. But I did miss the summer. This 2020 summer, being on location, given the fact that we're not around people, we don't have that. When people, after a class, when people leave, there's that kind of residue, that talk, that, oh, what'd you think, what is all that really great stuff. Didn't have that. So in a sense, as a result of COVID, the use of Zoom has, it's after being in a class and then shutting Zoom down, that's been a shock to the system. All right, bye. Leave the meeting. Oh, okay. So it's that kind of, anyhow.
Yeah, it's a weird, like almost empty feeling, almost.
Yeah, I'm alone.
Yeah.
I wasn't, but I am. But what? What's that? What's going on? Yeah. So you've experienced that too?
Yeah, when I've been taking dance classes, like with Dance Arts Center in Redwood City, like I'll have a great class and then end meeting, and it's just this empty void in my living room. It's very odd.
Yeah.
Changing subjects slightly. Your choreography process is rather unique, I feel like, in terms of what most people see. Like, it's very collaborative. Like, you often ask performers to create movements, and then you kind of build a piece together. Like, how did you kind of develop that process? Long-winded way of asking that.
It's great. When I first started I had already experienced that process when I was in at the VCA, which is now, has always been a part of Melbourne University. So my teachers there went to America and Europe and then came back and then moved dance in a way that meant something to the Australian people, I guess. So their influence has influenced my understanding of just one way of creating choreography. So I already had that kind of in my bones when I first arrived at the Children's Theatre, but it was really the Children's Theatre that really solidified some things here about that process. And and maybe Caitlin, you can speak to my process as an adult, working, and Debbie too, working in the community shows. But back to the kiddos, I found out that I was, again, the expectations. This is the movement. This is what it should look like. But then when the kiddos, the performers, the artists, the dancers, began to understand what that is for their body, it did not come across the way that I would like to have come across. So why am I enforcing a movement pattern in something that is not what you feel the music is, or not your backstory of what something is? And pairing dance and acting, again, what is the backstory? Dance is much more than what looking at the mirror and seeing your technique. It is part of it, but there is also the character, where it comes from. And then take it into the next sphere of, okay, so what's the context? Okay, we're in COVID now as a context. So what does that mean to my body in this studio with these people? I mean, it's quite a interwoven knit. So back to your question. I didn't start practicing that process until I was with others. And I think for me, the kids were a lovely transition to that. And I think it gave, working with older, mature people, there is that space where they can be themselves. I remember in one of the community shows where I was this, and this, and then they were like, nope. I'm like, oh man, all right, okay. So how is this going to evolve? So sometimes in my role, I've just got to back off and say, well, how's it going to evolve? Debbie.
Oh, I was just agreeing when you said older, mature.
Well, yeah.
But that was totally what you did in the community show, is that you would put things out there and then work within each person to feel the numbers that you were putting out there so that you could incorporate it yourself and go to places that you never expected you could go. I mean, I still think about the shows, about how I did things that I never thought I could do, and that my body felt, which then made my mind feel better than I can ever remember it feeling. I went to places that I didn't know I could touch again. And you did that. And that's why I'm so enthralled with all that you've pulled together to make that whole, that piece. It's not just one thing. You've looked out at all kinds of things and put them together. And now you have a way to say that, where I agree. You couldn't always put that into words, what some of us were feeling. The ones who let themselves go with what you were suggesting. The ones who would say, I can't do that. Okay. But the ones who would just try, and then you would modify it for that person, was amazing. Yeah.
So,
Oh, no, if you had something to add, go ahead. No? What are some significant memories you have from your time at Children's Theatre, or any important takeaways you had? I know you mentioned it helped you a lot with your choreography process, but anything else from Children's Theatre?
Yeah, that children can do more than what an adult thinks they can. Ambitious choreographers. Debbie first was Get Smart. I don't know if you remember that, Debbie. Get Smart had the newspaper, all those newspaper sections that.
Oh, yes.
Remember? Just to throw it out there, just set up an environment or the conditions where the performer can know that dance, it doesn't just exist in one place, where you can use objects, where you can use other bodies, where you can notice the stage in a different way. Yeah, I just think of Get Smart. And to this day, Emily Costello still knows the steps. I don't know if she does.
Funny.
Oh my gosh. Another takeaway, to let things out, to let things sit. So what I mean by that, when there is a phrase or something that's been initially taught to a group, it doesn't matter at the beginning how clunky it is. I know that the rhythm that they have will suit the rhythm that needs to happen. I remember there was a duet, and it was a Beauty and the Beast, and I think it was Blake and Zach, and it was a fight scene. And I didn't have the music with me because I don't know how this happens, but listening to the music over and over again, there's something that sinks into my body in the way of timing. And so here we are going this, then that, and this, and then push, and then da da da. And I'm thinking, no, I need to do a little bit more. Do that little bit more. And then practiced it with the music on it, and it was like, whoosh. I'm like, great, you did it. It fits. So there was a takeaway that my body understands more than what my brain does at times. And so to know that can happen and sit with that. That's what I meant with that. Sit with that.
Alrighty, I think we have time for one last question. What advice do you have for anyone wishing to pursue dance or even the arts in general as a career?
Do it. Do it. It's already a love. It's already a passion. It's already something that you're interested in pursuing. Can I have that question again?
What advice do you have?
From my perspective, I'm a perpetual learner. I will keep learning. I will go to the Laban Center and I will continue learning Laban movement and notation. That's kind of like the next. And then after that, maybe more studies, starting with the P, H, and ending with the D. I don't know. So it's satisfying to me, that pursuance of things. So advice, I would say, pursue your interests. Pursue what you're interested in, and because the skills that you are learning in your interests can disseminate in other things. You're not, what you learn through your interests is not exclusive to what you pursue your interest, whatever that may be.
I think that's a wonderful note to end on.
We're on.
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time, Daina. It's so nice to see your face.
Yes.
Thank you, Colin, for such wonderful questions, and Debbie for organizing all this.
And thank you. Thank you for organizing it. Thank you for your questions. It's been a pleasure, actually.
Thank you, Daina. It was great to see you and hear everything from you.